How do you create content that gets you clients without making sales calls? If you're anything like me, your feed is absolutely brimming full of offers about how to pack out your calendar with sales calls. Just the other day, in fact, I saw one. It was just this really bright colored square with huge text that said, get 120 sales calls on your calendar this month guaranteed. And that gave me absolute anxiety. I know you're supposed to see that and think, oh my gosh, if I could only, convert 10 or 20 or 40% of those calls. But for me, I was like, I don't want to do 120 hours worth of sales calls this month. That sounds horrible. I would rather create content that resonates on a visceral level with my ideal prospect and gets them to chase me down rather than the other way around. I am done chasing after prospects and feeling like I'm forcing the idea to work with me on them. I want people to have that idea themselves and come after me. I've said it a million times. The more you market, the less you have to sell, and the less you market, the more you have to sell. So I want to create content that is a marketing machine that spreads the right message to the right person, gets them to the 99-yard line, then we can hop in the DMs and just tip them over that 1-yard line into the end zone, and now the sale is closed. I don't have to get on a sales call and be pushy about it. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how to do that, how to create content that helps you get clients without sales calls. So the first thing is we have to create content in the right buckets. So most people out there just focus on educational content. If I just teach enough, I will show somebody I know what I'm talking about, and then they'll want to do business with me. That's part of the equation. So the first content bucket we need to make is educational content. But a really important twist that I like, I heard Alex Hormozy say, don't make how-to content, make how-I content. So here's how I achieved a result. Here's how I helped my clients achieve a great outcome. Here's a solution that I came up with, that I stumbled across. So the information itself, the education is actually the same, but we're presenting it in a way that establishes us as the expert. It shows our expertise. And even more importantly, it humanizes it. It's not just information in a textbook, but this is real stories, real people, real case studies. It brings it to life. So the first step, we do have to educate. We do need to build rapport, create that reciprocity, but do it in a way that establishes our expertise at the same time. I've said it before, we are leaving the information age. Information is a commodity now. You can ask ChatGPT anything, and it'll give you the answer to any question that you come up with. So we can't just give information. We have to do more than that, but the information that we do give needs to be presented in that, humanized, personable way. Now, the second content bucket is your philosophy. We need to talk about the way that you see the world, your mindset. So the first category is kind of like our hands. This is what we're giving. This is what we're doing. This is the work that we do. This is our mind, how we think about things, and our eyes, how we see things. We want to paint a picture of the world and have people go, yes, I agree with that. I see the world the same way, especially if we can share messages that they're not hearing anywhere else. So people go, wow, I resonate with that. Nobody else says that. I'm on board. I agree with that. Or juxtapositions. Everybody else says something and I disagree with that. I'm not on board with that. And they say, yes, I thought I was the only one. I disagree with that too. So we need to connect with people on that philosophical level. So we're not just selling solutions. We're not just solving problems, but we're doing it in a way that's in alignment with their values, with how they see the world. Russell Brunson talks about doing the switch versus the stack. So the stack is, how do we help you do more of what you've already been doing, but it hasn't worked? The switch is, it's not your fault if you haven't gotten the results that you're looking for. It's because you've been doing the wrong thing. Rather than doing more of the same, here's something that's completely different. And this is a great way to introduce that, is through your philosophical content. I do things a different way. I see things a different way. This is a completely new, fresh opportunity. Get people to buy into that opportunity, and you've already taken such a huge leap towards getting to close that sale without doing a sales call. The third content bucket is personal content. So this is about you. So we went from hands to kind of the head. Now we're talking about the heart. Now it's the emotions. Help people connect with you on a deep level, on a human level. So this is values, principles, feelings, even goals and desires. Just allow them to connect with you on this level. We all know that people need to know, like, and trust us before they'll do business with us. And talking about that emotional level is a great way to get them to like and trust us. Now, the fourth content bucket is results. It's proof. It's case studies, client success stories, anything that demonstrates that the results that you're offering are real. You actually get tangible outcomes for your clients. That might sound obvious, but something that people actually miss is that it's okay to repeat yourself. A lot of my clients have this fear of saying the same thing over and over again. Oh, people have already heard me say that. First of all, they haven't heard you say that already. A lot of people Not everybody watches every piece of content. Even if they do, they have to hear something at least 7 times before it actually sinks in. So we have to repeat our most important messages over and over again. With a lot of my clients, there are a few, or maybe even just one, big dominoes. If we can knock over this one domino, it knocks over everything else. So as an example, I have a client who is a crypto trader. He teaches people how to day trade crypto. And he has this wins wall in a private Discord group where people will show their returns, and it's nuts. People have just these monumental numbers. They trade with leverage. So people in any given day will be making 50%, 100%, 500% returns on their money. So we make content about that all the time. We'll take a screenshot and then I'll just show it to him. He'll react to it, and we'll do like a react style where we'll put that image behind him. Or I'll show him one of his clients and I'll say, tell me the story behind this. And he'll give me some behind the scenes story about that. So we're continually repeating that over and over again. It's kind of the same message, but it's always a different person and a different screenshot. But it's not repetitive. It's driving that core message home over and over again that this actually works. So whatever your business is, you can probably do that same thing for yourself. Figure out what one of those big dominoes is, what is a piece of evidence or case study that you can share, and just keep hammering that over and over again. And then the fifth content bucket that you need to make is what I call candy or dopamine content. So it's like, so far we've been talking about really deep stuff, right? How to get into mindset and philosophy and emotions and connecting on a visceral human level. But it's also important to have just entertaining content. It can be memes. It can be funny things. It can be articles that you're sharing. It can also be Trojan horse style content. So that's where we'll find a clip of somebody who's big in our industry just sharing some piece of value. It just lasts for 10 or 15 seconds. And then the video is us watching that, and then we'll give our 2 cents along with that. I call that Trojan horse because somebody might not know who I am, but if I'm reacting to Elon Musk, they know who Elon is. Now Elon is my Trojan horse, is introducing me to his audience. So this dopamine or candy content, that can be kind of like the top of our content funnel. It's designed to grab the attention of new people, just entertain them and hopefully intrigue them, and then suck them into our content funnel where then we can put the mindset and philosophy and emotional content in front of them. So those are the 5 content buckets that you need to create for. Not just creating how-to content, not just educational content, but a more holistic approach where we're hitting all of the core things people need to know before they're willing to buy from us. Now that leads to the second thing, which is more of a sales psychology. Before anybody will buy from us, they have to believe that they can get the result that we're selling them. So Ryan Deiss, he's one of the OGs of internet marketing. He says that as entrepreneurs, we do not sell products or services, we sell after states. And as marketers, it's our job to clearly articulate the before state and the after state. And the bigger the gap we can make between those two positions, the more value that we provide and the more money that we can charge. So we're selling the after state. And before somebody buys, they have to believe that they can reach that after state. So one of the core things, like within those buckets, we have to focus on belief. The overriding goal of our content has to be to instill belief in the viewer. And there are 5 main things that somebody needs to believe. The first is they need to believe in that after state. They need to believe that it's a worthwhile goal in the first place. So some people might have a goal of making, $1 million, but secretly they think, well, who am I to want more than the average person? Am I greedy for desiring that? So the very first thing is we need to validate their desires and say, whatever it is that you are striving for, whatever I am offering to help you achieve, it is a worthwhile goal to pursue in the first place. So that's the first belief. The second thing is they need to believe that it's possible to achieve that end result, just possible in general. We need to show them that other people are doing this all the time. It's possible, which leads to the third belief, which is they need to believe that it's possible for them. Okay, so other people are doing this, but is it possible for me? Do they have something that I don't have? Do they have abilities or skills that I don't have? So we need to validate them and get them to believe that I can do this too. And then the fourth component is they need to believe in us and our business and in our vehicle. So it's possible for others, it's possible for me, but is this business and this mechanism the vehicle that's going to get me from where I am to where I want to go? That's the fourth belief. And then the fifth belief is they have to believe that now is the time to act. So it doesn't do us any good if they think, yeah, it's possible, but there's no urgency. I don't need to get started now. I'll do it someday. We need to get them to believe that the opportunity is right now, and if I want to get this result, I can't wait any longer. I have to take action. So those are the 5 beliefs that we need to add to all of our content. Now, there's a lot of ways to do that on like a tactical level. I won't get into all of that right now, but This might sound kind of weird. I think that the most important place to start is being somebody who has belief ourselves. If we want to instill belief in others, we have to embody belief ourselves. A number of months ago, I was in this little town called Silverton, close to my house. And there's this big mural on this building downtown, and there's a picture of Santa Claus checking his list, and it says Silverton, where people still believe. And it kind of got me choked up a little bit. And I'm like, why am I getting choked up over this mural? It wasn't even Christmas time when I saw this. And I just thought, without getting too far down this rabbit hole, I was raised with a lot of belief. I was raised in a Christian home, and I kind of fell away from it for a long time. And going through COVID and then having children, it like really rekindled my faith. And my belief is now stronger than it has been in a long time. And it feels so good having that again. I know what it feels like to not have faith and not have, connection and belief, whatever you want to call it. And now that I have it again, I realize how much I missed it. And I'm not trying to bounce all over the place or conflate things. I know we're talking about marketing right now, but I feel like we need to be people of belief. We need to believe that big things are possible. We need to believe that people can take charge of their lives. We need to believe that we can help people solve problems. We need to believe that we are not confined by, the constraints or the challenges that face us. I could keep rambling, but we have to have that belief before we can give it to anybody else. So that's where I would just encourage you to start with your content is rather than telling you, say this way, here's how to write a hook to embody the most belief, just start with being a person of belief and allow that to exude through you into your content. And then that leads to the third thing we need to add into our content, which is invitations. So now we have our 5 content buckets. We have our 5 beliefs. The most important thing now is just to invite people to open conversations with us. So we can give the content that gets clients without doing sales calls, but we need to open up those conversations with people. So the way that we're going to do this is not by getting people on a call and try to sell them on the phone, but it's going to be in the DMs. It's going to be answering questions. It's going to be sending links to maybe a sales page that can, tip them over the edge. But we don't want to wait for them to come up with that idea. So I don't want to just keep posting content and say, man, I hope people like this enough that they're going to eventually reach out to me. We don't need to make it salesy. We don't need to be pushy about it, but just give an invitation. Just say, hey, if this was valuable for you, I'll leave a link to my Instagram down below. Shoot me over a DM. I'd love to talk more about how I could be helpful for you. Or if we have a lead magnet or a tripwire offer or a training that we can send to them, just give invitations. Hey, if you want this thing, just leave a comment down below. I'll send it over to you. Like I said before, I am done chasing prospects down and trying to twist their arm, but I also don't want to wait for them to come after me. Just give that invitation, open the door, and then they can walk through it. So that's it. That's how you create content that gets clients without doing sales calls. I will give you an invitation now. If this was helpful for you, and if you would like to learn how we can create an entire content ecosystem for you and create a virtual media team that does all of your content creation for you, there's a link to my Instagram down below. Shoot me a DM. I'll tell you more about how it works. And once you know how to create content that gets clients without sales calls, the next step is to actually create the content. And for a lot of people, that's the hardest part. You need to set up your gear. You need to film the videos. You need to do it without doing 50 takes and without stumbling over your words. You need to edit it and animate it and repurpose all of the videos and do thumbnails and write the descriptions and schedule everything and post everything. There is a ton of work. So I have created what I call the content conveyor belt. It's like a virtual process where you film the content, you take that raw file, you put it in the beginning of your content conveyor belt, it works through all of those steps of the process, and it ends up as finished content on the calendar, ready to be posted. I have a training video that walks through the entire process. I'll link it down below or click here somewhere on the screen.